Well, good morning and welcome to VOP This Morning on VOP Television. I am Moses Humphrey. And yes, not alone, Fina. Fina, good morning to you.
Good morning, Mo. You're not looking bad at all. I think I love the style.
I don't know how to respond to that.
I love the style, like serious, but I'm not going to steal it.
If that's a compliment, thank you very much.
Oh, you know me, I have to compliment every good thing when I see you.
All right, then good. You look good too. You look good.
Thank you.
All right, so let's let you into how Nigeria looks at the moment. APC National Executive Council meeting moved from National Secretariat to the Presidential Villa. Why? We'll find out all of this in the course of the program. And Nenadi Usman cautions Dati Baba-Ahmed over meeting with Julius Abure's Labour Party faction. Well, that's how things are looking at the moment. We'll also be looking at President Tinubu's request as he asks lawmakers to approve $347 million loan for the Coastal Road project. Well, these, of course, are the major conversations for this morning, but there are other issues that we'll be delving into as well.
And then for your active participation, during this particular program and subsequent ones, we need you to, if you've not done this, please do it. Subscribe to our YouTube channel on YouTube. We are at Voice of the People TV. And on other social media platforms, we are at VOP TV Live. You can also visit the website at www.vop.ng. There you have fresh and trending news stories. And then as Voice of the People Television, you have more than a voice with us. We have a number you see scrolling on your screen. You can call in during this program or send us a 1-minute video of yourself reacting or responding to any of the topic according to how you feel about it. And then talking about trending other stories, one of it is there's a bill for an act to prohibit public and civil servants from patronizing private schools and healthcare services. And for related matters, this is HB 2487. And this particular bill has passed first reading at the House of Representatives. The bill, if passed into law, will stop political office holders and public servants from using private hospitals and schools. The lawmaker representing Isukwuato Edochie Federal Constituency of Abia State, Amobioga, who sponsored the bill, said it was part of the effort to revive confidence in the country's public institution. The bill seeks to compel government officials and members of their families to use public hospitals and schools. The lawmaker explained that the bill intends to avoid conflict of interest, maintain public trust, and high, uncompromised standards of public institutions. I know what you're thinking where you are at this point in time, but I believe or I hope that the lawmakers at this point in time can let them just disappoint us. I know where you're sitting, you're saying it's not going to make it to the second reading. Nobody's going to talk about this again. It will not even be passed the law, but I hope they are going to disappoint us by making this one to be an act. Because a whole lot of persons have been talking about how we're going abroad. I'm talking about the political elected officers now, going abroad for medical tourism, sending their children abroad for academic studies, whereas we average Nigerians are suffering acid strikes. We're suffering hospitals that don't even have, syringe, like Moses pointed out the other day, that one of the primary health care centers he visited doesn't even have syringe, you have to buy. I can also tell you that I bought hand gloves for a hospital before I'll be administered to, before they could give me injection.
Course,
but
yes.
Now, if, for example, this particular bill make it to the second reading and the third, and then it's been passed, I, for one, I'll be happy. So that's why I'm begging the National Assembly at this point in time, be it the House of Representatives, the Senate, to disappoint me. Let them just disappoint, not just me, disappoint even other Nigerians who believe that this is not going to make it. I remember when we're talking about the bill to make it mandatory that all the persons will have elected officials, if you're vying for any position, you must go for drug integrity test. And boom, Nigerians were happy because we want to know what is really happening. Why will have a governor after 4 years or 8 years in office? You can no boast of building a single school or even, trying your best to improve the standard of living of your people, rather than all you do is to steal their money, find a way to solve the state dry and all that. That does not really be, that does not happen to be one of the attributes of a sane person, if you ask me. So we're actually believing that they'll move into making that an act, maybe making it a law, and they broke my heart. But this particular one, if they are to do this more, first thing that came into my mind is, the promise they made to, let's say, military personnel, their officers, the ranks, and about medical tourism. When you're done with this, you're entitled to medical tourism, to some amount of dollars attached to it and all that. 2 presidents that we have in Nigeria have died outside the country, and we have to use taxpayers' money to bring them back and then bury them. And we have even the president we have now still travel abroad for medical tourism. We have their children. The other day we saw the daughter of the president, talking about how she's dressed in her fine clothes because she wants to support the male and all that.
That's
come
all right.
on, Nigeria.
That's all right. Well, talking about this bill, as far as I'm concerned, it's dead on arrival. And I think a lot of Nigerians share my thoughts on this
So
one.
you don't think they can disappoint you now and make this thing?
Well, it depends on what disappointment by making it into an act.
Yes.
Well, the bottom line is this is dead on arrival. There are a lot of holes in this one because you're trying to restrict civil servants and public officials from patronizing
private.
You're trying to restrict them from patronizing private hospitals and schools, well, patronize public hospitals. Now, the question should be, have you put things in place in public facilities, public hospitals? Have you ensured that you employ qualified hands? Have you ensured that they are well paid? Hazard allowance and the rest, everything is properly paid. In other climes, when people tell you that they work for government, they are envied because they know that the conditions of service in other climes is good enough to take care of their needs. I mean, they are properly taken care of because they work for the government. But in Nigeria, the reverse is the case. When you work for government, people feel sorry for you because you basically don't have any benefit working for the government. So I think what our lawmakers should do, I mean, it's a good bill, but it's just starting off wrong, and by so doing, I feel it's going to be shut down. Now, what I think they should have done, first of all, would be ensure that the budgetary allocation for schools and hospitals are increased and seen to be used to ensure that these facilities are upgraded properly. Put the hospitals in good shape, all right? Ensure that nets are properly fixed. If you go to some hospitals, if the level of malaria in your system was, let's say, for example, 55% when you got in there, by the time you've spent 2 days in there, the malaria in your system will go up to about 85% because the windows are not covered. The doors are left open. So you have more mosquito bites at the end of the day. In fact, those that care for their family members in hospitals end up falling sick because they are exposed. And there are no treatment for them until they fall sick. So ensure that these facilities are properly equipped with modern day equipment. I think that's what we should be talking about first. Now, when you now ensure that equipment are put in place, ensure that those that work there are happy working there. Pay them what is due unto them. Let them be happy, regardless of how small it might be. Ensure that the conditions of service are good enough for the people. And if you want to encourage people to use public facilities, I think we should have started with using Nigerian facilities, ensuring that we use Nigerian facilities in Nigeria as against going abroad. So that way, both public and private facilities are patronized. And then subsequently, some years down the line, when you've been able to bring the public facilities up to par, you can now put a restriction and say, okay, at this point, now it's now restricted for a public servant to use private facilities. But to just say use private facilities, use public facilities, I think it's laughable.
But I think if this particular bill by what's it called, Amobi Oga, if this particular bill is to be looked into, this will make public office holders now to go back and do the needful. The state governors are receiving FAC allocations. What are they doing with it? I believe within myself that if we say, it's just that when I read through this and then I said, oh, okay, it's quite unfortunate again, we're having another loophole. The young man did not say stay in Nigeria. He just said public hospitals and public institutions. So there is every possibility that they will still tell you that they travel abroad to use a medical facility that's for public, not a private one.
Oh, no,
they can actually
still
do that. But now in this particular one, I believe that if for example,
that cannot be done anyway. But
if, for example, they want to do the needful, it will make the local government chairman to be on his toes to work and make sure that the primary healthcare centers are working, the nets are fixed, the necessary equipment needed are provided. It will make the state governors also to make sure that the state hospitals also are functioning. Some hospitals now have been turned to FMCs. Then it will now make them also to utilize the money, because when we're talking about the amount being allocated, I think for health in 2025 budget we have 2.something trillion naira, and for education 3.something trillion naira. Now, it's bigger than what was allocated to it in 2014. This 2025 budget actually, like I think 58% or thereabout increase.
Let's not rule out inflation.
Now, exactly. Now, if they are to utilize every fund that has been allocated to these sectors well, not siphoning it, we'll find out that we'll have something. That's
exactly the point I've been trying to make. But anyway, let's move on to another conversation now. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited that's NNPCL, has reduced its premium motor spirit price, that's petrol price, for the second time in 1 week. Now, the state-owned oil firm has adjusted its petrol price from 895 naira per litre to 890 naira per litre. Now, this represents a 5 naira per litre downward price review when compared to its earlier 895 naira pump price. Now, the latest adjustment comes barely a week after the company implemented a retail price slash, while NNPCL retail outlets dispense fuel at 890 naira per litre. Dangote's retail partners sell their own fuel at 885 naira per litre. Well, the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria's national president, Abubakar Maigandi, told journalists that fuel price will continue to fluctuate due to the deregulation of the oil and gas downstream sector. Yes, of course, we see the impact Dangote refineries have it on the price of fuel. He's basically, like it or not, he's basically determining the price of fuel, because when he brings it down, and his partners are increasing by the day, all right? So as his partners increase, Nigerians troop to those filling stations to buy fuel, because even if it's 1 naira reduction, it will tell in the volume of PMS that you buy. So you would want to buy the cheaper fuel. And it's been said that some of these things are better, clearer, because they are properly refined, they last longer when you use them. Well, that's an argument for another day. But really, Dangote is making an impact indeed. He also did say something about crashing the price of gas. And marketers are already crying, saying that this will affect their businesses. But the question is, if he can do it, that means it can be done. So if it can be done, why hasn't it been done? Why wait for an individual to set the record straight, as it were, before Nigerians have some sort of lease of life? Do you know how much gas is? Crazily expensive. A 12.5 kg gas is going for about 16 or 17,000 naira in some places. This is something that used to be less than 4,000 naira at some years back. So with what he's doing, is basically controlling the market. So I'm one for a continued reduction in the price of fuel. Yes, we hear that it will fluctuate. I just pray it continues to go down, because that's the only time it benefits Nigerians.
It's a bit laughable when you say that you hope it will keep on.
You don't believe
down.
it will.
It's just the way you'd never believe that particular bill to make people to stay in Nigeria is going to pass the last. You know what I'm saying? That how are we going to, or how will the price reduce when we don't have national-owned refinery to start with? Because that's where the first problem begins. According to what I think the chief executive of NMDPRA, Baba-Ahmed, stated yesterday, he said that Nigeria as a nation still imports fuel. West Africa as a nation still imports fuel. This is as Dangote exports 1.3 billion liters of already processed PMS. Oh, you're shaking? No, you don't have to. It's Nigeria is our nation. You know, what I'm saying it is this. When we have this hope, we have this high hopes at everything, we'll believe that Nigeria is going to work again. And then someone asks the question, what then will happen to over $200 billion we have already put into our refineries that are not working yet? What then are we going to say when we're looking at, we have one
well, you know, the conversation around the refineries.
They want to sell it.
There
they
is
want
that,
to privatize
yes,
it.
there's that.
So now the thing, are they selling it
conversation
as a refinery or as a scrap? These are the things that they will tell Nigerians. Wants to know, what are we selling these refineries as? If an individual in Nigeria, in the person of Aliko Dangote,
I don't think it makes a difference what they sell it as, whether they sell
you know
it
why
as
I say
scrap.
it does? All the money they have fixed into that refinery, they should tell us what they are using it for.
Yes,
if, for example, they want to sell it as scrap,
that question. But then the fact is, at this point, unfortunately, it's something that should have been done a long time ago. But even if it's done now, it's still good for us, because whoever buys it will now become a competitor. I mean, if it's able to put new equipment in place, it will now be a competitor for Dangote refinery.
If it's to be a scrap, then that shows it's just the land that the person is buying. That is just it.
Even if it's not a scrap, even if they're not selling it as scrap, like you say, the fact is, the equipment there they are obsolete, they are outdated, they can't work. It's been established that no matter how well you try to rejig, put one screw here, one pipe here, join this hose here, it will not work. So whoever buys it will need to revamp, take away everything that is there, and put modern day equipment in there. That's what is going to happen.
I'm so happy you just made mention of this. Now, you know why I'm very happy? So if this actually is to be the case, then that shows NNPCL, the petroleum minister, and every other person that happens to be at the helm of that particular sector owes Nigeria's explanation. They owe Nigerians explanation. Because all the money they will be fixing, okay, then that shows the story around the Warri refinery coming upstream and the Port Harcourt refinery coming upstream, though on blending level now happens to be a decoy, a story that Nigeria shouldn't even take. But what I'm trying to say is, I'm happy that they reduced the PMS price to 5%, 5 naira at this point in time, but it's still higher than what Dangote is selling. So if an entity, if an individual, a private sector, for crying out loud, can make his own PMS cheaper, then please, Nigeria as a nation should do the same. That's all I can say, to this particular one. Because PMS is what Nigeria as a nation now depends on. We depend on this directly or indirectly. If you're going somewhere, you need it actually for transportation. And if you're running your SMEs also, you still need it. Away from that, primary school teachers in Kaduna State have decried the continued payment of meager salaries ranging from 42,000 naira to 47,000 naira, despite Governor Obasani's recent announcement of implementing a 72,000 naira minimum wage for workers in the state. VOPTV gathered from some affected teachers that the exclusion from the new wage structure has left them in extreme hardship, with many depending on loans just to transport themselves to work or feeding their families. They described the situation as disheartening and unjust, considering their critical roles in educating the next generation. The teachers are also expressed disappointment at the silence of the Kaduna State chapter of the Nigerian Union of Teachers, NUT, accusing the union of failing to defend their welfare or take any meaningful action. They appealed to civil society organizations to amplify their voices, hoping that public pressure would prompt the state government to address the disparity. In Kaduna, teachers are protesting. In FCT also, teachers are protesting. And I believe the one of FCT have made school pupils not to be in school for some time now. You know, they're protesting first the wage award that they have not received, then the minimum wage implementation. I wonder why we're having these discrepancies, you know, in this pays and in these salaries. If we say that the minimum wage now will be at 70,000 naira, I don't know what is keeping governors, even with the FAC allocation they are receiving now, to implement it. Obasani said that he's going to peg the salary of the workers in Kaduna State at 72,000 naira per individual. Then what is really happening? Is it that the primary school teachers are not being, are not part of it? Because we know that the work teachers are putting in Nigeria, or rather in the world, cannot be overemphasized, because it's the teacher that made Moses and myself actually to be where we are today. Without the teachers, we can't tutor ourselves. We can't read on our own to understand, even to get to professional levels. It's from the primary school foundation that you have that you'll be able to move into the secondary school and even the tertiary institution. If you don't have a good foundation, then believe me, it's not going to go anywhere. Then also the governor of Kaduna State says something about how he's going to unveil a safe school policy to boost education. Now, with the school teachers now not earning anything, how is it going to boost education when the primary school teachers are disgruntled with the salary they are receiving, when they are not even happy, when they borrow loans now for them to be able to transport themselves to school? The governor can do something to this regard. And also they call on the NUT, Nigerian Union of Teachers, too. They should wait in and listen to the pride or the cry of their own.
Yes, of course. It's unfortunate that teachers are earning so low in some parts of the country. That means the minimum wage, of course, it buttresses the fact that the 70,000 minimum wage hasn't even cut across, when a lot of states already proposed to pay higher than the federal government. So a lot of people are not receiving that minimum wage. Just imagine what someone will do with a family person, for that matter, with 40,000 naira. I mean, monthly. How much would you spend on feeding? How much would you spend to do other basic necessities, like pay your light bills, or these basic things? How much? There's almost nothing there. It's quite unfortunate. And now we call on, like Fina rightly said, the Nigerian Union of Teachers should chime in on this. Labor unions as well should chime in on this. I mean, that's why they are crying out, because they need support. And I wonder why the labor union in the state has not already started talking about fighting for the teachers. We seem to just, move away from things that concern other people if it's not going to affect us directly. That's really unfortunate. Well, I would say that these unions should join in the fight, join in the struggle, and ensure better life for teachers, because that's the only way the nation can move forward. If you affect the education of a nation, of course, you keep them in a beggarly position forever. So let's make our teachers feel better, and so they can teach better. All right, away from all of that conversation, let's quickly run to the dailies now. Let's look at stories that made it to the cover pages of the papers. I have the Punch. We're starting off with the Punch newspaper. Right beside, now the window headlines, 2027 presidency. PDP sees Southern candidate as game changer. APC expands National Assembly control with 7 new PDP defectors. Reps approve $347 million loan for Lagos Calabar Highway. Others, it's been approved already. Reps approve. All right, great. What a very compliant National Assembly we have. Tinubu, APC governors in high-stakes meeting before NEC. Tariff battle escalates. Discos reject review talks with states. 36 states energy commissioners to meet FG as tariff showdown worsens. And then Sanwo-Olu rallies governors. Elumelu for 500 billion naira Lagos food initiative. Bauchi governor, minister raised the alarm over fake news threat. Ogun residents protest after fatal crash kills 4 pupils. Defection drama. APC, PDP exchange babs over Adeleke's U-turn. All right. Those are the headlines there on the cover page of the Punch newspaper.
The Daily Independent is up next, and above it, above the masthead, that's the window headlines, are MPC. Experts back hold decisions as inflation FX risks loom large. Supreme Court has settled our leadership question. LP says Dati entitled to his opinion can associate freely. All right, the banner headline, 2027 election, subversion of people's will could lead to crisis, ADC. Right after that story says no end in sight to Nigerians suffering under APC. IDPs in Benue lacking relief materials, EU raised the alarm. Right after that, urges action against malnutrition in Northeast, Northwest. Sanwo-Olu launches produce for Lagos 500 billion naira offtake guarantee fund. FG elevates flooding challenges in Nigeria's national security. Jakonde Memorial Lecture, stakeholders harp on media role in creating national consensus. Another bold headline on the cover page of the Daily Independent. Coalition won't work. Members are nomadic politicians, PDP. Warns members against romancing with ADC. And the bottom strip headline, APC strengthens Senate majority as 4 lawmakers join party. The story is on page 7 of the Daily Independent newspaper.
And that's how far we can go with newspaper headlines. Let's get into the conversation now, because we have plenty more ahead. APC National Executive Council meeting moved from National Secretariat to the Presidential Villa. Why? And what should we expect? All of it will unfold in the course of the program. Join us again as we have our guest that will be doing justice to this. Join us again.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Extraordinary. Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP this morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get drum! Hunger no get religion!
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand. Is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela o onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụladị egwuregwu. Ngwa sonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya.
Ibamuru nzem ọzọ kedukosi aga ya gazere onye ukwu ma gazere onye nta.
Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ịmata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa ọbụladị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV Channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV Channel 264 ka ị ga-ekiri Voice of the People Television. Voice of the People Television. Ugbu a ị nwere karịa olu.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV Channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV Channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Good morning. It's the start of a beautiful day. Well, start your day right with a healthy dose of news, fun, and inspiration. Join us on VOP this morning for the latest news, trending topics, and uplifting stories to set your day on the right vibe. From news and current events to lifestyle and entertainment, you are covered.
VOP This Morning, 8 a.m., Monday through Friday.
Hi, my name is Tosin Mohammed. I'm a gospel artist. Keep watching VOP TV.
Almighty Father, you are the mighty Redeemer. We've come to worship at your feet, oh Lord. This is Ayotunde Adejimo, chilling with you on the Voice of the People TV. Don't touch that remote. You are where God wants you to be. Listening to the Voice of the People TV.
The Bible says we should give thanks in all circumstances. And all circumstances include the good times and the bad, the high times and the low, the times when everything look as if they are going well, and those times when Enugbe, the ground is dry like the sand in the desert. Those times when you feel like giving up, you should give thanks still. My name is Jeff Melu, and I'm a gospel poet. And you should keep watching VOP TV. Don't touch that dial.
Yes, sir. We were born to give you twale, to give you a shame. People of God, you are watching Voice of the People TV, and my name is Flo Rocker. I encourage you to listen to things of the gospel. You know, we live in a very perilous times where there are some things you watch on television, you will lose faith, you will lose God. Keep your eyes on Voice of the People TV and remain blessed. Flo Rocker says so. Kuzoshi.
Everybody keep watching Voice of the People. All right? Love you all. Hello, sweetie. What's going on? My name is Kiki. Keep watching VOB TV. Thanks.
Hey guys, what's going on? Olumide Oru, the Fresh Prince of Lagos here, and this is VOP TV, guys.
Hello, guys. I want you to please keep on watching VOP TV.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Hafiz Oyetoro. Please keep watching VOP TV.
Shout out to VOP TV.
Very big shout out to the fans and lovers of VOP TV. My name is Tayo Faduro. I'm an actor that you are going to live to love. Keep watching. Cheers.
Hi everyone, so shout out to VOP TV.
Ever wonder what inspires your favorite gospel artists? Explore and discover the rich heritage of continental gospel music and how this transformative journey has evolved and shaped cultures around the world. As we dig deep into archival treasures, feel the energy in our praise jam, Gospel Fusion on Voice of the People Television. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. and be part of a transformative experience that uplifts and inspires. Join us as we explore the transformative power of gospel music and its ability to uplift spirits and unite hearts. Tune in this Sunday, 3 to 4 p.m. on Voice of the People Television. Gospel Fusion. Let's fuse our hearts in praise and joy.
3 years ago, we lit the spark. Today, we are blazing the trail for others to follow. VOP Media is free. 3 years of breaking boundaries. 3 years of being that bold voice that echoes the thoughts of the people. 3 years of telling stories that matter.
We have experienced complete breakdown in democratic governance.
We are not just a brand, we are a movement, giving voice to the voiceless.
We go to bed empty hunger.
To every viewer, every voice, and everyone that has made us who we are, we say thank you. VOP Media, 3 years and still counting.
VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
In a world where truth is the ultimate power and opinions scream the loudest, it's time to wade through the noise.
Hunger no get tribe. Hunger no get religion.
And scan the human interest and trending topics that matter. Stay tuned to The Issues, your plug to the stories making the buzz, from politics to science and technology, social justice, and more. Let's tackle the tough questions and expose the truth. The Issues on Voice of the People Television. Don't just react, understand.
We encourage you to click on the like button and subscribe to our YouTube channel. We are Voice of the People TV. Also follow us on all our social media platforms. We are at VOP TV Live. Visit our website www.vop.ng for fresh and trending news. Also watch us live on SLTV channel 264. VOP TV, Voice of the People Television.
Well, thanks for joining us. We do apologize for that delay. Now let's get into the conversation. The ruling All Progressives Congress, APC, recently announced a change in the venue and time for its forthcoming National Executive Committee meeting, originally scheduled to be held at the party's National Secretariat in Abuja. According to a statement issued on Tuesday, July 23, 2025, by the APC's National Publicity Secretary, Felix Morka, the meeting will now take place at the banquet hall of the Presidential Villa today, Thursday, July 24, 2025, at 2 p.m. The party attributed the venue change from its National Secretariat located at 40 Blantyre Street, Wuse to Abuja, to logistic reasons. Now, the NEC meeting is expected to bring together key stakeholders of the ruling party to deliberate on critical internal and national matters. Well, we do have joining us to discuss this. We have Bishop Bob Manuel Obioko. Bishop, good to have you on the program. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right.
Thank you. And also, greetings to our viewers and those with you in the studio.
All right, Bishop, now let's get straight into it. Now, some have said this is, the government, because it's the ruling party, taking advantage of national assets, to hold their meeting. But do you think this is as a result of what happened when they had the APC Northeast meeting, where the conversation around the president getting, appearing unopposed in 2027 came up, and there was chaos at that meeting where the vice president was not endorsed for a second term, but the president was endorsed. Do you think this is a way to curb dissenting voices within the party? Because holding this in Aso Rock basically would prevent anybody from, trying to cause chaos.
Yeah, well, in one way, if we want to be circumstantial, but I think that in most cases, a meeting that the president will be in attendance, first and foremost, they will look at the security environment. And I want to believe that with the tension in the country generally, in the polity, I think they want to be a little bit careful with issues of security, apart from the internal differences and what it could snowball to concerning interest. I think it's for me, apart from political reasons of making the president have his way, is could also, and the response to such imposition could actually make them, because of the unknown and for safety and general decorum, let us take it to where at least people will be compelled to be themselves. That's the way I look at it more.
Where they'll be compelled to behave, right?
Yes, to behave because of the environment they are. They could, whatever will be their differences, they will want to judge up instead of going to a combative style of any form of rascality.
All right.
I think that's what we want to nip in the bud for me.
Okay, with your experience in strategy, I mean, you're the former national vice president, Institute of Strategic Management. Now, with your experience in strategy, how would you explain, or what strategy do you think the APC should take going forward, seeing that there seems to be some sort of division within the party? I mean, more people have joined the party from the opposition, and they have interest as well, maybe to retain their seats. They've joined the APC. The APC seems to be divided as to who and who should be its national chairman right now, with Al-Makura on the list, and also Datori also on the list as those to emerge as a national chairman. And the president also talking about the possibility, the rumor that Vice President Kashim Shettima may not return. And some people are, upset at that, like we saw at the Northeast meeting. What strategy do you think the president or the big wigs in the party can put in place to ensure that everyone is brought on the same page?
Yes, the strategy they should adopt is a strategy I'll call pure strategy. And the pure strategy mantra is about, first and foremost, following your constitution. You know why there are agitations here and there is when the realistic thing to be done according to what creates the party, which is the constitution, the party constitution, is not followed to the letter. For instance, the zone offices, and Ganduje, who just left that office through resignation for whatever reason, came from the wrong zone when Tinubu came. Perhaps he wanted to consolidate with him, and he trusted him. So when Abdullahi Adamu left, you discover it was supposed to remain in the North Central, but it was taken away, I think, to the North West or so. And so it wasn't palatable. That confusion was there. In fact, it made one of their national officers left the party or became docile. Now that they are going back, it should be a corrective strategy, a strategy that will make those who are aggrieved, the voices that are dissenting, I'm making it a point that it should return properly, because every other person, the Senate presidency, all the things that is on the House of Reps, accordingly, all of them are in their respective place. But people will not feel cheated, especially in a situation where it is perceived like the North is not too happy with this presidency concerning the agitations and their support they either gave. So it should be a redemptive strategy they should be using. Politics should play less of it, but holding the party together should be the aspiration, because there are people who play politics well above the general cohesion and interest of the party. And right now, 2027 is stacking us at the face that it's going to be highly combative from all regions.
All right.
So they should look at that strategy and adopt so they can unite their party.
All right. Sorry, please. Sorry. Just to correct a statement I made earlier, the names that have come up as those to probably occupy the position of national chairman, we have current Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Nentawe Yewada. His name has come up, and Tanko Almakura, his name has come up as well. And we know that Nentawe Yewada hails from Plateau State, which is not central. All right. So do you just to correct that assertion made earlier, Fina?
No, let's look away from
yes.
the aspect of this.
The humanitarian minister is all over the media that is likely to be the man they will endorse, based on the North Central equation and demand. He's also cerebral. They look at him as somebody who is not too political. Though he has contested gubernatorial election, he looks level-headed. He is somebody that can easily be amenable. So I think the powers that be is a younger person and has not seriously been in politics at that strategic level. So I think the powers that be think it will be a man that can be handled and can be swayed their way.
Okay,
So
now Bishop, moving away from this political perspective about this discussion, you know, some Nigerians are asking how legal is this, or how constitutional is it for a particular political party now to use the state, you know, let's say state infrastructure for their private meeting or their private gains or to their private benefits. Can you help us actually work around this? And at what point do you think Nigeria as a nation and even the APC, who happens to be the ruling party, you know, will make it clear, not blurring the line between the usage of the state assets or state infrastructure now with personal or party business?
Well, I think that is neither here nor there, because it is a moral persuasion. I don't think it is illegal to use a facility with the government in power. Mind you, the president is a leader of the party, and if the security apparatus around him advise against going to alternative venue that is owned by the party, because of likely intelligence, the president's life will be most
We
important.
weren't told about
We are
that.
not-
What Felix Moka said to Nigerians, well, the reason for the change of the venue happens to be logistical reasons. He didn't say anything about threat to the life of the president. He just said that moving from
Why
Wuse to, the logistic actually is not that clear. That was what he said. He didn't say anything about threat to life to the president.
Yes, if you ask that same Moka further, of course, even when there are perceived threats, especially in a situation whereby insecurity is pervading everywhere, they won't come out to tell you. But I think that apart from trying to show that this is a party in government and we can do whatever we like, in which case, which is overbearing, the only thing that can justify, because they have a good secretariat and they can afford any. They can also use any other public facility, hotels, event centers, and other ones in Abuja. But for them to have even taken it to the Aso Rock, the seat of the presidency, he has said logistics, that could be part of it. But logistics there could be a lot of undertone to logistics. Logistics concerning what is it, car parks, is it safety and all that. The whole co-location logistics is one language that could be applied under many guides. But I think morally speaking, our country should be safe enough where these political activities are held in the proper places owned by the party.
Now, you just said something earlier before now. You say that it should be on moral base. And then does it mean that the taxpayers' money, which we know is being used to fund the activities of the presidential villa, even the 10 billion naira now that was already embedded into the budget, saying that they want to use that to also provide electricity through solar panels in the villa now. Nigerians are not going to be made known of where their money is going to. We've seen also situation whereby the presidential jet was being used by, a family member of the president, to go watch something as easy or as trivial as polo.
That's why I'm saying that if you look at not just this government, it didn't start from this government, even from previous government, there have been a thin line between usage of are there vehicles, are there other vessels, air, and even facilities like we have mentioned about the Aso Rock, where people use impunity have been the order of the day. Because will you go to court and question it and all that? So is our system, people do the wrong things and have their way. I think that in other climes, these things are big, they raise big question mark to those who are abusing them. And they could even decide their fate, but we're in a country where it's like everything goes. In fact, if you talk more, you'll say you're envying them because you are not there. Okay. And they'll make you look sarcastic. So for me, the issues that are more important are issues of re-governance. Because if our economy is working well, if we have safety and security, any event, private or public, could be held without much without more security threats or even logistics threat. What is the logistics? When we do individual thing, the capacity of those that are coming. The number is a structured meeting. It's not all commerce meetings. It's not a general convention of the party. So you can tag your seats. You can provide adequate security for movements and all that, in and out. The president leaves the Aso Villa to go commission projects and all that in that same Abuja, and there are security. Why will this one be different?
So are you saying that Nigerians now should see this, more like, is it about convenience or about a symbolic hold or grip of power, or are we going to look at this now to be people who are in control?
Yeah, just to show that sagacity that they're in control, that physically we're in control, whether you like it or not. Right now, you have other parties coming up. They are also moving around the country, trying to make their presence felt. And somebody could just be sending the message that we're in control and nothing can happen to us and all that. And again, some party members, they believe if they go into Aso Rock, it's also a privilege. to politics at high level and all that. So nobody knew actually who proposed the change of venue. It could be even insiders, maybe those who are managing the presidency and the party. So what we want to see is that, is it right in the eyes of the general populace? And if it's not right, why should they be taking things that will raise questions? And again, now we are in a system where the people matter less. Even now, we are surprised our votes appear not to be counted. You remember what Ruth Namichi said yesterday at the airport, that certain politician has been winning election by changing results and all that. If people at that level can come to make public statements like that, it means the Nigerian populace have been taken for granted, where our votes don't really count anymore. So they know whatever they do, at the end of the day, your decision will be less important. And that is why the impunity is going on.
All right.
For me, it's exposing the level of leadership we have at the various governance level. And it's quite a pity.
All right, and now let's talk about internal politics within the APC. Let's go back to that conversation where we see that some people are disgruntled within the APC, and also there is the possibility. There was the talk about the president probably taking NNPP presidential candidate in the 2023 election as his as his VP in 2027. How does this conversation, especially the fact that you also pointed that some political elites within the North are not pleased with the president and how he's been doing things. How does all of this play out for the president as we move towards 2027, especially seeing that Atiku Abubakar has pitched his tent within the ADC, and some governors have joined him as well. Some state House of Assembly members also in some northern states have moved to the ADC, and the ADC seems to be building its structure stronger and stronger. How does all of it play out, especially this meeting? This is a crucial neck meeting for the APC.
Yes, that has been on in the public space, that the president, the current sitting president, wants to walk along with the leader of the NNPP, Kwankwanso. Well, that is political permutation and calculation. We have not known how it's going to work out. I think they have met one or two times, and it looked like Ganduje was even sacrificed for that, to make that possible. But, well, it's politics. I know Kanu has a large voting population. And maybe the president, knowing that if he can, with the governors from PDP who have left for the APC from the South, and their inroads into other South states, they believe if they have that vote and divide the Southeast to an extent and go into the North and cause some division, especially with a place like Kanu, where Kwankwanso and his Kwankwansia movement hold sway. That's where Ganduje also came from. It could be a good political calculation or permutation.
Okay.
But we leave that because Kwankwanso cannot be predicted. It's a man who has been an old politician. He's aligned to Obasanjo. It's actually Obasanjo's political son. And when the game comes to a particular level, it could be influenced.
All right, now,
it could actually be influenced to sway, just like what they did during Jonathan's time, that all of them had to go through, go to where new
NPDP.
The NPDP, yes. And ended up working for the conglomeration of APC.
So are you saying that APC as a party now, does not really have the organs of this party, actually does not have a say? Are you saying they are not independent? Are you saying that they must work with what the president says?
Of course, that's how APC has been run. When Ganduje came, they went against the zoning system, and Ganduje was as good as imposed as National Party chairman. And when he left also, was there a convention that removed him? It was at the discretion of some powerful people within the corridors of power. And it was still the same political permutations and calculations all over that made it pan out like that. So APC had been a one-man show. It has been run from the presidency. I don't know whether I still have cabals, but with those who have the years of the president, that's what happens. Even in their ministerial appointment and in their general appointments, they make a point. You saw the recent appointment that Babangida's son was given the chairmanship of Bank of Agriculture. The guy didn't accept it for one or two reasons. They tend to be independent-minded because they're like strange bedfellows that came together from different, what do we call? APC was from the legacy parties, NPDP and all that. So their political ideology is not centralized to one route. So it's like that has occasioned the infighting between the parties because they tend to have party leaders. There are some that told Tinubu is president don't see him as their leader, especially with the exit of Babangida now. Buhari, that controls about 11 to 12 million votes of the North. So they are going to divide that vote based on different loyalty because there have been nobody that has walked into that shoe. That was the history of the foundation of APC. So it's still haunting them and it will continue to haunt them.
Thank you so much, Bishop Ibiokun, for your submission.
Thank you.
All right. Now, I needed to ask if this is not going to lead to the party imploding, anytime soon. When we have so many parties or faction of the party, disgruntled, we have people who are upset, people who are angry, also still in the party. We have people who are being forced into joining the party. So I wanted to get your opinion, maybe in 30 seconds before moving from this particular topic.
Okay, no, there are two things to that approach. People are angry for obvious reasons. One, they are not performing, they're underperforming. That's on one hand, affecting Nigerians across party and other walks of life. Then two, again, appointments that have been so far done, and those who tend to be controlling the president and his policies. Most of them have felt that they have not actually been taken along, even as party members and strategic members. So apart from the polity itself, which they also think a lot of people have not been carried along. So they have many, that's why the president recently started doling out appointments, especially centered towards the North, for it to look like he's listening to the agitations and balancing, because that is the real problem. But this particular infighting will continue because I don't see they are not doing it with sincerity. It's like putting the cart before the horse, because what the people are really agitating for, it's about political placement, and justifiably so, and also developmental progress. The North are thinking that much has not been sent to the North in terms of, look at the Calabar Lagos coastal road going on, look at a lot of things going on. There are no very big projects like that in the North, apart from the normal rail roads that are being done like everywhere. So they are agitated for also the reasons of development and the way the budgeting is done to affect their region. So it's something that cannot be immediately addressed until even we go into the elections.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Bishop Dr. Ibioku Gospel Bob Manuel. Thank you for staying with us. Now let's get into another conversation. We'd like you to stay with us still. Nadi Usman cautions Dati Baba-Ahmed over meeting with Julius Abure Labour Party faction. Let's talk about this when we come back, and we'll be joined also by Daily Fanimo, who is a reporter. Well, let's have this conversation in a bit.
Are you ready for the extraordinary? Something big is happening on your screen. Introducing VOP TV. Now streaming on SLTV channel 264. From breaking news to captivating conversations, news analysis, giving you all sides to the story. We break in-depth discussions on the issues that matter, from politics to sports, entertainment, and lifestyle. VOP TV on SLTV channel 264. Join us as we redefine what television means to you. Voice of the People Television, VOP TV. Now you have more than a voice.
Glad to have you back. It's still VOP this morning. The Nenadi Usman-led Labour Party faction on Wednesday told the party's vice presidential candidate in the 2023 election, Dr. Dati Baba-Ahmed, that the leadership issues within the party had been clearly settled by the judgment of the Supreme Court. Ken Asogwa, senior special advisor media to the interim national chairman of the party, and Senator Nenadi Usman made this known in a statement issued in Abuja. The statement was in reaction to the recognition purportedly given to Julius Abure as the substantive Labour Party's national chairman by Baba-Ahmed at a recent event. He said the attention of the party had been drawn to the recent participation of the former vice presidential candidate at a meeting convened by the Abure-led faction of the party. Asogwa noted that the unambiguous judgment of the Supreme Court had effectively nullified any claim Abure might be laying to the office of the national chairman of the party. Meanwhile, the Labour Party's 2023 vice presidential candidate, Dati Baba-Ahmed, has said that Peter Obi is at liberty to contest the 2027 presidential election on the party's platform, with or without him as a running mate. Baba-Ahmed emphasized the need for Nigeria to be led by individuals who can offer genuine governance rather than chaos. Addressing concerns about Peter Obi's involvement with a coalition under the African Democratic Congress, ADC, Baba-Ahmed dismissed claims of anti-party behavior, describing it instead as part of a developing political landscape. We still have with us in the studio, like my colleague Moses rightly pointed out, Mr. Dele Fanimo, a reporter and VOP in-house political analyst. And then from our Port Harcourt studios, we were joined by Bishop Dr. Ibiokun Gospel Bob Manuel. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for being part of this conversation. Good morning, Mr.
Good morning, Fina. Good morning, Moses.
Good to have you join today's conversation.
A pleasure.
Let me start off with you, on this particular note. What do you have to say about this particular statement made by Dati Baba, talking about Peter Obi having or being at liberty to choose whomever person he want to choose as a running mate in 2027, as he also said that he's supporting him moving for a coalition, saying that that is more like a way, to bring our political landscape to another level?
Would that not amount to double speak? You are in Labour Party and your principal in the last election is still within the party, and you are urging him to jump boat to another political party.
No, he's not urging him, is he? That's not urging him. That's telling him that, look, he can run without me being his vice. If he chooses another vice within the party, that's fine.
No, he's also saying that if it's looking at coalition, that it's fine.
So you don't think that coalition, actually, according to what Dati Baba said, is more like a developing political landscape in Nigeria, if I'm to ask? Because that was what he said when he championed Peter Obi.
You see, the point is, in the real sense of it, would that not amount to anti-party activities? If you are in a political party, you have not officially resigned from this political party, and you are hobnobbing with another political party to the extent that you are a factor in this new political party, that itself is anti-party. Then, coming to Dati Ahmed seems not to really understand what he wants. And I'm beginning to feel that he is more like a fifth columnist now. Because we all know the script given to Wike towards the next election by the APC. Work as much as possible to factionalize other political parties, ensure that their base is weakened, and Abure, who is struggling for the soul of Labour Party, went to visit him. For what? And technically, Labour Party is factionalized along Nenadi, Usman-led faction, and Abure-led faction. Now you are pitching yourself with Abure faction without overture to the other faction. Would that not further polarize the party along these factions? And you see, it's a whole mix of complexity, confusion, and all that. And like the president said, he said it's game for him that other political parties are in disarray. And now they are playing to his script. Peter Obi never recognized Abure. Since that Congress in Abia, where Nenadi Usman and his 13-member committee came up on board. Since then, he had not had any interaction with Abure faction. Now you are his running mate in the last election. I feel that if there is going to be any overture to Abure-led faction, it should be at the instance of Peter Obi.
Are we supposed
who is your principal?
Are you saying that we should limit people's interaction? We know we have freedom of association and movement now to party wrangling or internal affairs.
No, you see, let's get this thing clearly. Yes, we have that in the Constitution, that freedom of association, freedom of expression. But the point is for the optics. We have this culture in Africa. My enemy should be your enemy and not your friend.
What about the one that says, have your friends close and your enemy even closer? So you don't think that this is more like a move for him to know what is happening? That is
Machiavellian theory. That's Machiavellian theory as propounded by Machiavelli and also supported by Robert Greene in 48 Laws of Power. But that is not the African context. So what we are saying is they are furthering the disintegration of Labour Party, as it is.
Okay. All right, let's go back to Bishop now. Bishop, thank you very much for staying with us. Now, talking about Dati Baba-Ahmed recognizing the Julius Abure faction, saying that he was having a meeting with the faction to resolve the issues within the party. He also did state that Peter Obi was aware of his meeting with the faction. Now we've had Nenadi Usman respond to that, asking that he shouldn't recognize the faction because the issues within the party has been resolved by the courts. But we all are familiar with the ruling of the courts. With everything playing out, does it seem like there is a possibility of the Labour Party? Bear in mind, Julius Abure having a meeting with Wike, as that would always come up. But does it seem like there is a light at the end of the tunnel to resolving the issues within the Labour Party? I would like you also to merge with your response to the fact that there's been conversations around the likelihood of Peter Obi being deceived by the coalition and seeing that he hasn't officially resigned from the Labour Party. Will he be returning wholeheartedly, wholly to the Labour Party? And will the factional issues come up? Will it affect INEC's recognition of who leads what at the end of the day? And how will everything play out if this is not resolved before 2027 election? It's quite a lot, I know, but please just help us, make sense of it all.
Okay, thank you for that question. I think that it's not a new template. If you look at what happened in the election that brought in the sitting president, it was a conglomeration of political groups still having their identity before the APC was formed. Now, what is happening is political interest. The Labour Party has an internal problem, just like the PDP has. They have a lot of litigations, the ones that are in various levels of court. But if the Supreme Court internally have made a pronouncement, another thing is yielding to that judicial pronouncement, and also interpreting it. What we have now is people giving interpretations they feel like when it comes to implementing court rulings and judgment. I will leave that for the day, but the politics there is interest. That perhaps is also playing according to his interest. The Nanade group should also play politics because they have ended the judicial aspect, which has not really helped the party. What they need to do is reconciliation now. If they want the Labour Party to be united, mind you, we also have the Labour people, the Labour Union people who are now in the party. They're also stakeholders. Maybe they are supporting Nanade and all that. But I think all of them need to come under one umbrella and call a spade and allow Labour Party. And that is why if you look at P2B, he is not completely putting his whole egg in the basket of Labour Party again. He's obnobbing with the ADC, which is the coalition of the day. And they've adopted, ADC is already an existing party, but their ADA couldn't go because INEC might not register them. They have decided to pitch tent with an existing party. So if you look well, we are at a point of conjecturing. Even the ADC have court cases now internally that people are saying maybe could turn the apple cart for them if the pronouncement of the court does not go their way. But these are big weeks. What I think should happen is P2B, well, whether he's in Labour Party or he has resigned, he needs to be in control as a father to unite that party. If he's feeling unconcerned with any faction, that would be a wrong strategy. It should take an holistic approach of trying to make sure if there is a court judgment, everything give and take. Perhaps the National ESCO and all that, they can come and have a political solution to their internal problems, just like what the PDP is trying to do, especially with the ousting of the leaving of people like Atiku, who, in quote, was like the party leader after the last election. So P2B, if he's still in Labour Party, like my colleague have said, should take leadership. He should not allow his vice to further divide the party. That would not be in the interest of the overall members and their aspiration moving forward. But for the rest of the politics, generally, like you have mentioned, all we have seen, it is 2027 playing out. At the end of the day, water finds its own level. All the political players in all the parties, including the ruling party, will know. Even in the ruling party, some people might still leave based on maybe tickets are not given to them or the way impositions will be made to other parties and to strengthen them or to weaken them. Just like it happened to PDP when APC was being formed. It was just a last-minute decision. The president was still talking with them, Jonathan, and they took that decision and went to the other side. So we hope to see more breakouts like that. For me, I'm not really bothered too much about the internal problems. But politicians are always about their personal interest. And at the end of the day, their interest will override that of their party. The party is just a vehicle. They don't seem to even be loyal to the party constitution. They are loyal to who is in control of the party at any point in time. And I think that is what is going to pan out generally.
In other opposition parties, where we have, for example, the Labour Party now, Julius Abure went to visit the Minister of FCT. And then just yesterday, Dati Ahmed Baba is also supporting Wike's activity with the PDP, saying that he has the right to destabilize the party so far as it favors him. So is that what we're seeing now?
Oh, okay. Yes, that's why I'm telling you that it is personal interest that is holding sway. Again, we are in a very serious situation because of our economy. Most of the politicians we have, with due respect to them, they are there for survival. They are not there for the advancement of the people's interest. So whether the survival is in the future or in the immediate, I know somebody like the former River State Governor Wike today is close to the corridors of power. And there are people who think they want to get close to him for a lot of other reasons, other than what meets the eye. So for me, those personal meetings and all that are still ways of getting across to people that are stakeholders to either destabilize or to consolidate their plans for 2027. Don't be surprised that people, that's why I said they cross-carpeting as a group, or will continue, because whenever these conditions are given, look at the PDP governors started leaving their party. When before they were forming like credible opposition, they didn't mind about their internal PDP governors forum and all that. They left as if that party did not contribute anything to their presence there as governors for their personal interest of second term. So that is what is going to happen. The personal interest of these politicians is what is driving their decisions. It's not the interest of the country or the interest of the populace, or they are coming to govern it. They are talking of personal relevance. And that is why I don't take all these their meetings and movement and statements. I take it with a pinch of the salt, because it's not towards anything credible and serious.
All right, thank you very much, Bishop Dr. Bob Manuel. Let's bring it back to the studio where we have Dele Fanimo. Now, would you say, right now, as it stands, would you say Peter Obi is loafing?
A dicey one. Dicey in the sense that the optics clearly points to that direction now. But politicians have a way of reinventing themselves. But if you recall vividly, what is playing out today, I said it about 2 months ago, but nobody believed me. I knew what was going to happen. Exactly the picture I painted, if you go back in time, about 3 interventions is what is playing out now. I said it from day one that ADC was pronounced and El-Rufai was championing, running up and down and all that. I said this one is just a forerunner. This is John the Baptist. The Jesus is coming. And the Jesus, I mentioned it here, that it's Atiku. And he will so polarize that ADC along religious line, along ethnic lines, that it will end up in chaos. And in less than 2 months, see what is happening. Some people will run back to their former parties before the end of this year. Okay. ADC will also become, it will go back to its comatose state. Because
before the end of this year.
Before the end of this year. Mark my word again. Because of the unbridled ambition of Atiku.
So basically, what that means is the APC might not have a viable opposition in 2027.
Didn't I say that? That these are a bunch of disgruntled, revenge-driven, malice-driven politicians.
Let's not.
You don't close your eyes and fight with your enemy. You can't win that battle.
How about the role of or the place of inducement? We've heard Atiku is inducing. We've heard the APC is inducing. How has that affected the permutations so far?
Has inducement not been part of politics in Nigeria from time immemorial? Has it not been? How did Atiku emerge as presidential candidate of PDP 2022? How did Tinubu emerge as presidential candidate of APC in 2022 towards the build-up to the election? Buhari as Mr. Integrity, how did he emerge as APC presidential candidate at Tessim Balogun Stadium?
You want to be specific and tell us how?
Inducement. Delegates were given $3,000 each.
For which one of them? The Atiku emergence or the
Buhari? Even Buhari as
emergence.
Mr. Integrity. Delegates were given $3,000.
Now, Mr. Fanimo, you said something. You said that, Peter Obi it's that this particular permutation of a coalition and Peter Obi, Muslim and everything is more like, is that on arrival? Now, but we've not seen Peter Obi and Atiku, more like going for each other's jugular. The other time when Obebolo said something about, Peter Obi giving him heads up before coming into the state, we saw Atiku coming all out to, to say that attack on Peter Obi is attack on all, supporting the movement of Peter Gregory Obi. What do you have to say about that? So, when we're talking about this course, it's more like replacing most of our, some persons were saying the reason we think that the ADC coalition will not stand is over the presidential ticket.
See, one thing I love about Peter Obi is getting wiser by the day. A Peter Obi of 2022 is no longer the Peter Obi of 2025.
You think so?
Yes.
Well,
because
some will take that with a pinch of salt because he
I'll tell you
ran
why.
with the coalition.
I'll tell
He
you why.
ran with the coalition.
Peter
that has
Obi
Atiku
went to
in
that
it.
coalition without removing his leg from Labour Party.
But knowing fully well that with an Atiku in the coalition, he may have a problem becoming the flag bearer.
That's what
of the party.
That's why I said it's apparent to him. And even when last did you hear El-Rufai talking in ADC? Now you are seeing that it has been used. Amechi has been used.
Amechi is still talking. I mean, he went to
He was just doing that to his people.
To River State the other day, and
He was just doing that to
people.
It's just the whimper of a dying person. Politically, Amechi is almost gone. Now, it's not even in the equation of River State. El-Rufai is not even in the equation of Kaduna State because Obasani had surpassed whatever achievement El-Rufai wanted to lay claim to, particularly in the area of security.
All right.
So, the dominant person who they know they cannot muzzle with deep pockets is Atiku in ADC. And at the end of the day, they will leave that party for him.
Okay. All right then. Well, we'll continue this conversation during newspaper review, as I would like for you to stay on for that one. But we have to let Bishop Dr. Ibioku Gospel Bob Manuel go. We thank you very much for your contribution as we get into the next conversation. Bishop Dr. Ibioku Gospel Bob Manuel is a former National Vice President, Institute of Strategic Management, Nigeria. Thank you very much, Bishop, for your time on the program.
Yeah, thank you. Just for your information, I have been elevated to Archbishop Designate.
Oh my goodness, congratulations.
Congratulations.
Thank you. The installation will be done in November.
All right, we would like to attend. We'd like to attend. Thank you very much, Archbishop. Wish you the very best.
Okay, sir.
All right, then, there you have it. Well, let's get into another conversation now. President Tinubu requests lawmakers approve a $347 million loan for Coastal Road project. We hear that has been approved already. Well, let's talk about this when we come back. And we'll have Solomon Adodo, President, National Youth Council, join the conversation. Join us again.
Is a state of complete physical, mental and social well-being of an individual. It's the fundamental right of everyone to enjoy the highest attainable standard of health without distinction of race, religion, or political belief. On VOP TV, we bring you Health Check, a show that x-rays different health issues and provides solutions with the help of experts in the medical field. Join us every Saturday, 2 p.m. on Health Check. Health Check on VOP TV. Your health, our priority.
Voice of the People Television awuchiela o onye nụ ya ka ọrụ ibe ya. Ị chọrọ ịmata akụkọ ndị gbara n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche n'ala anyị kwa ụbọchị. Ị chọrọ ịmata ka o si afịatụ na ndọrọndọrọ ọchịchị, agụmakwụkwọ, azụmahịa, ime njem, ọbụla dị egwuregwu. Ngwa sonyere anyị n'oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television. Anyị nwere ndị ọbịa bụ ọkachamara bụkwa ndị ga-enye aka tapịa isiokwu ndị anyị jiri bịa kwa ụbọchị. Anyị ga-eji ka o siri gbaa n'akwụkwọ akụkọ dị iche iche wee malite tupu anyị akọzie n'uju n'ubi onye anyị bịara na nke ya.
Ịgbamụrụ nzem ọzọ kedụkosi aga ya gaziere onye ukwu ma gaziere onye nta.
Mkparịta ụka tọrọ atọ ka anyị ga-ewetara gị bụkwa nke ga-eme ka ịmata ka ihe si aga n'ala anyị bụ Naịjirịa ọbụla dị na mba ofesi. Oge ndị Igbo na Voice of the People Television ga na-abịara gị site n'ụbọchị Mọnde ruo Fraịde na SLTV Channel 264. Ekwekwala ka akọrọ gị ya akọrọ. Chetakwa na ọ bụ na SLTV Channel 264.
Well, thanks for joining us. Well, we do understand that we're trying to get feed from our Abuja station, but in the meantime, let's get you updated with the conversation. President Bola Tinubu has forwarded another request to the House of Representatives seeking approval for an additional $347 million loan, citing a hike in the cost of controversial Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway. The new request is part of adjustments to the 2025-2026 external borrowing plan. It was read on the floor of the House on Wednesday, which was yesterday, by Speaker Tajuddin Abbas. According to the letter, the total cost of the coastal highway rose from $700 million to $747 million. President Tinubu argued that the reviewed borrowing plan was informed by fresh economic assessment and a reassessment of national development targets, such as employment generation, skill empowerment, entrepreneurship promotion, and poverty alleviation. The House has referred the request to the Joint Committee on Finance, AIDS, Loans, and Debt Management, which is expected to review both the financial and technical merit of the proposed loan before reporting back to the larger chamber. Now, this marks the third major foreign loan request since Tinubu assumed office in May 2023. In November 2023, he asked the National Assembly for approval for $7.8 billion and 100 million euro to bankroll infrastructure and social programs. And then in March 2025, the President, Tinubu, submitted another massive request, over $21.5 billion in foreign loans and 757.9 billion naira through domestic bonds to settle unpaid pension liabilities. Well, we still have with us in the studio Dele Fanimo, and we also wait to get a connection to our Abuja studio where we have Solomon Adodo, President, National Youth Council of Nigeria, standing by. Well, we do understand that he has joined the conversation. Good morning to you. Welcome to the conversation, Solomon. Now let's dive into it very quickly. It seems like it's borrowing galore, with the president asking for an additional loan just a few days after there's been an approval to some of the loans, that the president asked for. And now this one also for the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. What's your broad overview of all of it?
Okay, thank you for having me. Good morning, Nigerians. First of all, we know for development to thrive, you need to have access to resources, financial resources primarily, amongst others. And when you seek for finances, whether through revenue generation or by loans, they must be tied to a project, a developmental project. If they are tied to a developmental project, a project that is geared towards development, then it is a worthwhile borrowing. And from the submission made to the National Assembly, we can see very clearly that this is tied to the Lagos Calabar Coastal Way, which opens a corridor of development, opens a corridor of increased commerce, which in itself will lead to massive jobs creation on its completion. Such a project should be given prime attention. Such a project should not be a project that will be taken halfway and abandoned in the middle because of lack of funding. So for this borrowing that is tied to such a project, I don't think it can be faulted in any way.
All right, talking about borrowing and the projects that's been tied to, we also learned, are you saying now at this point in time that when you don't fault this new borrowing, this particular money that the National Assembly, according to some national delegates, have also, accepted or even approved, that as the case may be, that's 347. Are you also saying that the one which was also approved yesterday before the closing of the plenary, I'm talking about the ones in dollars, the ones in euros, the ones in yens, which was approved, also is not going to be used for infrastructure and development? Is that what he's saying at this point in time, Mr. Dodo? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Solomon Adodo, if you can hear me.
Okay, let me get you clear, please.
All right, yesterday, the National Assembly also approved, or 2 days ago, they approved the loan which the federal government made us understand that is going to be for infrastructure development, for housing, for security, and a whole lot. And this particular money, when being calculated, was a very high, on the high side. Now, you're saying that borrowing, actually, for us to complete the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway cannot be overemphasized. The need for it is out there. So are you now saying that this particular one, again, which the federal government has already borrowed for infrastructure development, the housing and every other thing, cannot be used to, offset the prices or the money or the fares for the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway construction?
Okay, thank you. These are very clear issues. When we're looking at macroeconomic indices, we must focus on both monetary and fiscal policies, policies of government, its borrowings and its expenditure. And in this instance, we are looking at borrowings for a particular expenditure. The first, I think in the question answers itself, because each subject has its purpose. The last being for the Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway, which, like we emphasize, and which is evident, self-evident, will lead to development and improvement in our macroeconomic parameters. And then the other, we are talking about internal happenings within the country, issues like housing, issues like social safety nets, issues like trying to see how to address the biting economic challenges. If you look into housing, we have a vast housing deficit that the Ministry of Works and Housing keeps estimating in millions of housing deficit. So there needs to be, Nigeria needs to be a massive construction site. We also need to look at new settlements. where we have had issues of internal crisis, farmer header clashes, and so on and so forth. If we have better housing settlements in those places planned alongside their farming, then housing settlements even for the cattle rearers. And we're not saying this will all just be thrown on a platter of gold for free. There could be arrangements, but government needs to take that initial step.
So you're taking out the construction of the Calabar Coastal Highway from infrastructure at this particular time, because what we're told happens to be that the money that the federal government borrowed is for infrastructure development. Are we taking out the Calabar Lagos Coastal Highway from infrastructure in Nigeria?
Infrastructure has its specifics. You could be talking about infrastructure when you talk about road. You could be talking about infrastructure when you talk about housing. You could be talking about various other forms of infrastructure. So if we say you are budgeting for your meals, what meal are you budgeting for? Is it breakfast, is it lunch, or dinner? The fact that you budget or borrow for breakfast does not mean that if it is necessary to have dinner, to avert an illness or an ailment, you will not have to find a way to get it, knowing fully well that if you're in a good state of health, you can repay back. So what the government is doing, from our own perspective, is to inject funds into all the necessary areas to keep the economy significantly healthy, so that we can thrive and succeed. Jobs will be created for the youth of the country, and the GDP of the country will improve. Other macroeconomic parameters will also improve, and we should be able to pay back these loans effortlessly.
All right, thank you so much.
They are loans tied to development.
Yeah. Let's bring in Mr. Frank Ayala join the conversation. Good morning, Frank, if you can hear me.
Yes, good morning. How are you doing?
Well, good. Thank you so much for being part of today's program. Now, yesterday, we heard about the House of the National Assembly approving $21.19 billion external borrowing, and also they also approved 15 billion Japanese yen, 4 billion euros, a $65 million grant, and 757 billion naira in domestic funds. And these particular monies, according to the presidency, they say that they are going to use this for the benefit of infrastructure, security, power, agriculture, and housing. And then today, we're getting another approval from the House of Representatives now, seeking to give the president a leave for him to borrow $347 million loan specifically for the controversial, I beg your pardon, Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. What do you have to say about this? You know, where we have on one hand borrowing for infrastructure development, and this one again for another infrastructure that should also be included in the first borrowing, but we're seeing it exclusively for Lagos Calabar Coastal Highway. And the reason for this, according to the government, is they say that the reason is that the $700 million budgeted for this construction actually can no longer see it through. Let us get your opinion on this, please.
Yes, for me, it's most unfortunate that this government, as it stands today, they are contradicting themselves. We remember the scenario that happened in Subsidies Gone. And what was the major reasons? To enable Nigerians save for the rainy day. Are we saving now? The answer is no. To enable Nigeria be self-sustained in terms of infrastructure development, today are we self-sustained? The answer is no. We now ask a question again. In 2015, our total debt burden was about $12 billion, $62 billion, according to Sibanjo. Then, today we are talking of over 147 trillion naira. If you listen to Oyedele, the taskman, when he was briefing the National Assembly, he said we are using over 50% of our earnings to service our foreign debt. You now ask yourself, before the Calabar Coastal Line was approved, with all the shenanigans that went through that approval process, were they not aware that the $700 million that was projected for that process, for that infrastructure, for that road, is not sustainable? That's question one. Question two: are they saying that in every 1 kilometer we spend $1 million? So I think this current administration, for me, they need to tell us something better, because economically they are not getting it right. Inflation is dropping from the roof because there is an excessive expense from the government. So if you look at House of Rep, if you have to go by Naira terms, 33 billion dollar will give you close to about 48 trillion naira. Add that to our current debt burden. If you add our current body, it will be going to about 200 trillion. So where do we start from this place? So for me, I think the government need to tell us something more reasonable, something that is verifiable, because I don't know what they are burdening all this money. Nobody can really account. Look at from 2015 till today, what are the road infrastructure that we have borrowed money to sustain? I listened from our spiritual father about Amechi. When Amechi was a minister for transport, I was constructing train track from here to Niger. We also borrowed 1.5 for that. So they should tell us what they are doing with all this money, because else it will come to a stage we will be using over 95% of our earnings to service our foreign debt. It's alarming. It's disgusting. It's a thing we shouldn't bring to the national fore. I don't know what national assemblies are doing. Just rubber stamping whatever the president brings. Nobody asks questions. It is now that you are making projection for Lagos Calabar coastal line after you have commissioned less than 30 kilometers out of 700 kilometers. What happened to the money that you have voted for it? Because we were also told that it was on partnership, private partnership. So how much of that partnership are we contributing? What is the portion of the contribution of federal government to that project? So those are million questions that they need to come out to tell us. For me, this is exactly what Buhari did, may so rest in peace, in February 2023, when he released $1.5 billion for Port Harcourt refinery. That today we are not seeing it. So they need to look for something else to tell Nigerians. Nigerians are getting tired.
Yes, Nigerians want answers to these questions being asked. Of course, Nigerians cannot wait to have answers to these questions, because monies are being spent, and Nigerians would like to know how these monies will be repaid, so we don't end up having our youths, our children, carrying debts as they grow up. Well, thank you very much, Frank Ayala, public affairs analyst. We also say a very big thank you to Solomon Adodo, who joined us from Abuja, President, National Youth Council. Thank you very much for your time on the program. We've also had Dele Fanimo with us in the studio. We thank you as well. We'd like for you to stay with us as we get into newspaper review at 10 o'clock. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. Earlier on, we had Bishop Dr. Ibioku Gospel Bob Mano, who joined the first conversation. Well, thank you very much, gentlemen. We appreciate you for your time and your contribution. Well, that's it on VOP this morning. Newspaper review comes up shortly. Join us again then. On behalf of my colleagues, Fina Okechukwu, and the backroom staff, I am Moses Humphrey. Bye for now.